It's been years now since that night that tore my entire life apart, yet the memories still sit heavy in my chest. I never thought something like this could ever happen to me. I mean, I used to believe that love, family, and trust were enough to hold everything together. But I learned the hard way that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones holding the knife behind your back. My name is Lisa, and this is the story I never wanted to tell. It all began in 2012, when life seemed perfect. Derek and I had just bought our dream home in Atlanta, and everything felt like the fairy tale we both worked hard to build. My twin sister, April, lived abroad. Then she had just moved to Germany, after landing her dream job as an HR manager for a big company. We spoke every day, laughed about old times, and dreamed about raising our families close to each other someday. Life was good, until 2015. That was the year everything changed. April came back home to visit. She arrived with gifts, smiles, and stories of her life overseas. Derek and I were so happy to see her. She was my other half. We'd shared a womb, a childhood, and a bond that felt unbreakable. Our housekeeper, Jenny, had been working with us for about a year then. She was quiet, hardworking, and respectful. At least, that's what I thought. That night, Derek came home late from a client meeting, something he rarely did. I remember hearing his car pull into the driveway. He stumbled through the door, drunk, so unlike him. Derek was never a heavy drinker, but that night, his eyes were glassy, and his words slurred.
Where's everybody?
At the same time, April
home.
was in the living room chatting
Hello?
with Jenny, who had served her a glass of juice. What I didn't know was that Jenny had drugged it. If you've ever believed your life was perfect, just wait. Because what I'm about to tell you will make you question everything you think you know about trust. And hey, if stories like this keep you on edge, you might want to stay with me till the end, because it only gets deeper. Jenny's life was falling apart then. Her mother was dying from cancer, and her boyfriend, Marcus, had convinced her to pull off a plan, a dangerous one. She wanted to blackmail Derek for money. Her idea was to get him in a compromising situation, snap some pictures, and demand cash. But her greed turned a desperate act into a disaster that ruined everything. That night, with Derek too drunk to know what he was doing, and April half-drugged from that juice, Jenny took advantage. She led them into our bedroom, the same room where Derek and I shared everything, and staged photos that would later tear my world apart. When she was done, she left them both there, thinking the job was finished. But something she didn't expect happened. In their haze, Derek mistook April for me. They crossed a line neither of them would ever have crossed in their right mind. When they woke up the next morning, both of them realized what had happened. The shock, the confusion. Derek thought he was still dreaming until April spoke his name. They panicked. The CCTV footage was gone, deleted by Jenny. They tried to piece things together, but nothing made sense. And they made the biggest mistake of their lives. They decided not to tell me. 3 days later, Jenny resigned. She said her mother's health had worsened, and I let her go without a second thought. That was when the blackmail began. Derek started receiving anonymous texts demanding money, $50,000 at first. The messages said if he didn't pay, the pictures would reach me. He tried to protect me, transferring money quietly from our joint business account. I noticed he became restless, distant. The man who once couldn't go a day without talking to me suddenly had secrets in his eyes. April soon confessed to Derek that she was pregnant. It was like a nightmare neither of them could wake from. Derek was haunted by guilt, April by shame. She moved out, claiming she needed space. She eventually left for Germany again, her belly already growing, her heart full of fear. Jenny kept demanding money, her threats getting darker each time. Derek kept paying, trying to protect me from the truth. Months passed, and April gave birth to a baby boy, Ethan. She sent Derek a message with a picture of him, saying she would raise him alone and keep the secret buried. He promised to send money every month. I still knew nothing. You ever wonder how well you really know the people you love? Sometimes I think we only know the parts they choose to show us until life forces the truth into the light. Years rolled by. The blackmail didn't stop. Derek and April were living under constant fear, and the pressure was eating him alive. In 2023, everything exploded. Jenny's boyfriend demanded $150,000, or he would send the photos to me. Derek didn't have the money. He tried to take a loan from our company, but since it required my signature, I was alerted. I refused to sign because I didn't understand why he needed that much cash. Then came my birthday, October 6th, 2023. I came home to decorations, candles, and the man I still loved, smiling through tears. It felt like a beautiful night. Then the doorbell rang. A delivery man handed me a small envelope. From a friendly enemy, it said in bold letters. I thought it was a prank or a gift. Hours later, as we opened gifts, I picked it up again. Derek's face turned pale. "Lisa, don't open it," he said. "Please." But I did. And the world as I knew it ended right there. Inside were photos of my husband and my twin sister in bed together. Same clothes. Same room. I froze. I couldn't believe it. Derek fell to his knees, crying, begging me to listen. He told me everything: the drugs, the blackmail, the baby. He said he didn't even remember how it happened. I called April, and she cried too, apologizing, saying she never wanted it this way. I was broken. I couldn't breathe. The people I trusted most had shattered me. I spent nights awake, staring at the ceiling, asking why. Why me? But I needed the truth. I hired a private investigator who traced the blackmail account to Marcus. When he was arrested, he confessed everything. Jenny had been the mastermind, but she was already gone. She had fled to Germany. Fate has a strange sense of humor. Months later, Jenny unknowingly got a job at the same company where April worked. When April returned from maternity leave and saw her, she froze. She called the police, and Jenny was arrested on sight. In court, she confessed. She said she only wanted to save her mother from dying of cancer, that she didn't mean for everything to go so far. Her story broke my heart, but I couldn't forget the pain she caused. Even now, in 2025, the wounds haven't healed. Derek and I go to therapy. We talk every night, trying to rebuild something from the ashes. April still calls from Germany, her voice heavy with guilt. I haven't met Ethan yet. I don't know if I can. He's innocent. None of this was his fault. But every time I think of him, I see the night my whole world fell apart. Sometimes I wonder if forgiveness is even possible. I want peace, but every time I close my eyes, I see that envelope. And now, I need your thoughts. What would you have done if you were me? Would you forgive them? Would you ever be able to trust again? Tell me what you think. Maybe your words can help me find a little peace tonight. The day I found out my husband got my twin sister pregnant. True life story that broke me forever. Stay connected for more stories on Tell Sunnac.